Barena glanced at him in disgust, slapped him up, and cursed. "Liang, how many times have I told you, don't call me big brother, you wild species, you are not worthy at all." After that, Barena looked at him contemptuously, and said coldly, "I'm going to find someone else to find a way, you can go back by yourself." As Barena spoke, he got into his luxury car and walked away. Liang stood there for a moment, with anger and unwillingness in his eyes. He stretched his hand into his arms, touched something that had been hidden in his arms for more than 10 years, as if he had made some decision, secretly gritted his teeth, turned around and entered clinic. The attendant at the clinic saw that Liang had walked back again and immediately said with a cold face, "Why are you here again? Go away. You are not welcome here." Liang begged, "Little brother, I have something to say to the genius Dr. Tianqi in person, I will leave after speaking." The guy frowned and said, "The genius Dr. Tianqi doesn't want to see you, don't you know anything about yourself?" Liang knelt on the ground with a puff and shouted loudly into the inside, "Mr. Shi, Liang begs to see you, and speak to you face to face, please be merciful. If you don't want to see Liang, Liang will be with you. Kneel down in front of the store." Tianqi had already walked to the room behind the clinic, and he sighed when he heard Liang's voice. The illegitimate child of the Wei family has been in contact with him several times, and he feels that he is indeed very educated and knows how the etiquette. And Tianqi did feel that Liang's situation in the Wei family was worthy of sympathy. Therefore, hearing Liang's words at this time, he felt a little compassionate in his heart. So he paced out and saw that Barena had already left, leaving Liang alone at the door, and said to him, "You come in with me." "Thank you, Dr. Tianqi." Liang was overjoyed, got up in a hurry, and followed Tianqi to the back hall. As soon as he entered the back hall, Liang immediately took out a slender wooden box made of mahogany from his arms, then opened the wooden box, revealing a whole body of white ginseng. He offered the ginseng in front of Tianqi with both hands, blurting out, "Genius Dr. Tianqi. This 1,000-year-old snow ginseng is the 1,000-year snow ginseng that my mother left to me when she was alive. It is her treasure for a lifetime. I know that you respect that Mr. Wade, so I want to dedicate this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng to Mr. Wade, and ask Mr. Wade to take action to save the Wei family." Tianqi was stunned when he looked at the small snow ginseng. It turned out to be a 1,000-year snow ginseng. This thing, he has only seen the description in the classical medical books, when he once thought that this thing did not exist, and the snow ginseng was at most 100 years old. Although this snow ginseng is not as long as a folding fan, its whole body is already a little translucent. This is because it has been waxed. Normal ginseng will not wax. It must be so obvious that it is waxed, a sign of its long life. This also allowed Tianqi to conclude that 80% of this snow ginseng is really a 1,000-year snow ginseng. Unexpectedly, this thing actually exists. He couldn't help but ask in surprise, This is really yours? How come you have such precious medicinal materials?" Liang nodded and said earnestly, "Mr. Shi, to tell you, my mother is a native of Changbai Mountain. Following my grandfather, my ancestors have been collecting medicine in Changbai Mountain for generations. This 1,000-year-old snow ginseng was handed down from my mother's family for generations." After speaking, Liang said again, "My father Yangcheng just started the medicinal material business, and he often went to Changbai Mountain to collect medicinal materials. He lied and deceived my mother. After my mother was pregnant with me, he left. I also grew up at the foot of Changbai Mountain. Until my mother was seriously ill and was about to pass away, she was afraid that I would be alone, so she contacted my grandfather. Grandpa thought I was of Wei family blood after all and could not be left outside, so he ordered my father to pick me up in Changbai Mountain and bring me back to Wei's house. When my mother was leaving, she left this snow ginseng plant to me, so that I must keep it close to my body at all times to prepare for emergencies. Now that the Wei family is in disaster, if Mr. Wade is willing to lend a hand, I would like to dedicate this 1,000-year snow ginseng to Mr. Wade." Tianqi was speechless in shock. He only knew that Liang was an illegitimate child, but he didn't know that there was such a story behind it.